I never thought a neighborhood feud would end in a full-blown flood, but when arrogance meets ignorance, disasters happen. And in this case, it was the HOA who dug their own watery grave. My name is Mark, and I own a 25-acre property just uphill from a fancy HOA development called Whispering Pines. Think overpriced cookie-cutter homes, fake lakes, and neighbors who freak out over mailbox colors. I'm not part of the HOA, thank God, but my land does border their southern edge. Now here's the kicker. My land contains a natural creek that flows downhill, and years ago, I installed a small private dam and retention basin. It wasn't some massive structure, just a reinforced earthen dam to slow runoff during heavy rains and redirect excess water safely through a controlled spillway. It protected my land and theirs. For over a decade, the dam worked perfectly. No erosion, no damage, no floods. I maintained it myself, even submitted documentation to the county when they did inspections. It was legal. It was safe. She became president of the HOA board last fall and suddenly developed a problem with unauthorized modifications to shared watershed. She claimed my dam was endangering the neighborhood by blocking natural flow. Never mind that the natural flow she was referring to used to flood half their basements before I built the dam. She sent a letter. You are hereby ordered to remove the obstruction known as your dam within 30 days, or the HOA will take appropriate legal and physical action. Physical action? Was this lady serious? I responded with a copy of the county permit, professional engineering sign-off, and legal precedent confirming I had every right to keep that dam in place. Clarence reply? Your permit is irrelevant. HOA environmental policy supersedes your personal modifications. That's not how laws work, Karen. But she didn't care. A week later, while I was away visiting family, she hired a crew with HOA funds to come onto my land with a backhoe and tear the dam down. No warning. No approval. Just gone. They left a jagged trench and piles of loose dirt, completely destroying the structure. When I got back and saw it, I was beyond livid. I filed trespassing and destruction of property charges immediately. But Karen claimed they had jurisdiction over watershed matters and filed a countersuit, dragging everything into a legal mess. While the courts slowly turned their wheels, rain season crept in. And this wasn't an average one. Weather forecasters were calling it the wettest year in 2 decades. I knew what was coming. Without the dam, the runoff wouldn't just stream, it would rage. The slope of my land naturally funneled water downhill, and without the retention basin, there was nothing stopping it from heading directly into Whispering Pines. I sent the HOA board an official warning. Without the dam, your lower neighborhood is at risk of serious flooding. You have 1 week to build an emergency barrier or reinforce drainage. They ignored me. Karen even replied sarcastically, Thanks for the weather update. We'll be fine without your backyard beaver project. Famous last words, because 3 days later, the sky opened up and the flood came. It started with steady rain, then sheets of water, then the real storm hit. With no dam to slow it, a wall of runoff tore down my hillside like a freight train. Mud, debris, and water crashed into the back fences of Whispering Pines, ripping through backyards, garages, and even flooding homes up to the windows. Basements filled. Cars floated. Retaining walls collapsed. Security cameras caught one resident canoeing across the cul-de-sac. The news called it a freak watershed failure. I called it karma. And Karen? She called 911 from her roof. The morning after the flood, Whispering Pines looked like something out of a disaster movie. Mud caked the streets. Furniture floated in driveways. Lawns were shredded. And most of the homes on the south end? Unlivable. But the most satisfying part? Karen's house took the brunt of the damage. Being at the bottom of the slope, the torrent of water had turned a pristine backyard into a swamp. Her basement? Completely submerged. The back wall of her garage? Collapsed. Her white Lexus? Gone. Found 2 blocks away, wedged against a utility pole. When I walked down to check on the aftermath, residents were standing in disbelief, some crying, others furious. Most of them didn't even know there had been a dam protecting them. Until now. And Karen? She was surrounded by county officials, FEMA inspectors, and insurance adjusters, trying and failing to explain why the HOA had removed a certified and permitted flood control structure without consulting the county or the homeowners. One official, clipboard in hand, turned to her and said, "You're telling me you intentionally tore down the only water retention system upstream during a record rain season?" Karen's face was priceless, pale, stammering, dripping wet. That moment was better than popcorn. Within the week, I had reporters at my gate. I gave them the full story: documents, emails, videos of the backhoe tearing down the dam, and even the certified warnings I sent to the HOA board. The local news ran the story under the headline, "HOA's destruction of private dam triggers devastating flood." It went viral within hours. Karen's smug reign crumbled overnight. Homeowners, furious about the damage and mounting repair costs, called an emergency HOA meeting where Karen was publicly voted out, yelled at, and even sued by several of the residents for gross negligence. Turns out the HOA insurance refused to cover any flood damage, citing willful actions by board members outside their authority. That meant every single repair bill landed on the homeowners and Karen herself. Worse, the contractor she hired to destroy my dam came forward and testified that she had explicitly instructed him to do it, even after he warned her of potential flooding risk. That sealed her fate. Meanwhile, my own lawsuit against Karen and the HOA. Let's just say the court moved quickly after the flood. The judge ruled in my favor almost immediately. Full cost of rebuilding my dam covered. Damages to my land paid. Emotional distress and legal fees. Oh, yeah. Karen lost her home within 3 months, foreclosed after she couldn't keep up with repair costs and legal judgments. Her once pristine house sat empty for a while, overgrown and water-stained. Eventually, a developer bought it at auction and bulldozed the whole thing. Today, a new dam stands stronger than ever on my property, this time with a 10-foot reinforced spillway and a steel floodgate. The county even offered to help maintain it, considering what happened. The best part? Whispering Pines has a new HOA board, one that personally apologized to me, offered to pay for part of the dam maintenance, and even invited me to speak at their first town meeting. I declined, but I did send a message. If you respect the land, it will protect you. If you don't, well, you've already learned what happens. As for Karen, last I heard, she moved in with her sister 3 counties over and swore she'd never join another HOA again. Smart move. Because if she ever messes with another dam, the water might not be so merciful next time.